You're watching Experience Comic Culture and Sales, streaming live daily to Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter.
Welcome Minute to Skim It. It's me, Liam.
Shanice.
And if you're new to our show, welcome. So every week we read number ones or one-shots that are coming out for the week. And I will warn there's a bunch of shipment delays. And from what I'm aware of, Scout just reopened their press in Florida post-hurricane. So your shops would be getting Scout books in probably the next 2 weeks. Which is why you have not seen a lot of them. And this week as well, we didn't get our Marvel books along with IDW, so we unfortunately were not able to read those this week. I apologize. But we did read a lot of really good stuff this week. So do you want to kick it off?
Sure. So I'll start off with Dark Crisis Warzone. It's right here. So yeah, I was very excited to read this one because they brought back two characters which I really like. One, well, you can see both the characters on the cover, but I don't want to spoil who one of them is. The reveal of that one is, like, that one just blew my mind. I was very excited to see Spectre in a book again because I really like that character, and he's one of those characters I wish DC did more with. So it's really cool to see him come back, and I'm very interested to see what happens in the future because his story ended on a very interesting note. Definitely do recommend it. Of course, you do have to be caught up with the Dark Crisis storyline going on right now, but I was very, very, very excited to see the character come back because, again, I don't want to say he's underrated. But I wish that he had a bigger following amongst DC fans. So I really liked it. I was very happy to read this issue this week.
Nice. I think we're gonna knock out It's Only a Teenage Wasteland. So since we both read it, it's so good. I loved it. I thought it was really good. We both being teenagers in like the 2010s, I feel like I loved it because it felt very similar to me being a teenager, minus the just like knowing how it is to be in every single friend group. What was your opinion on it? Because I'm curious.
That's why I really liked it too. When I was in high school, like all teen shows. And teen movies don't have like the popular kids, the nerds, the band geeks, things like that.
The different cliques.
Yeah, but when I was in high school, that never really happened. Everyone kind of blended together. Like I had a very brief stint as a cheerleader, but I was a big comic book fan, so it was just it was weird, right? Yeah. But I really liked it. It is, as you can tell by the cover, something goes awry in it. But you do have some normal teenage shenanigans happening in 2/3 of the book. The opening page has to be one of the most humiliating things I've seen a teenager go through. And I sympathized with that character. Like, my God, like that poor character.
My friends have been in that situation, and I'm like, I'm so sorry about it.
Yep. And it's the book. It really is fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
It's a teen drama, sci-fi book. It is gonna be a 4-issue series. I'm excited to see what happens in the next issue because the way this one ended is just like
just what happened?
Yeah, but not in a frustrating way. In a way that the hook is strong enough that makes you want to subscribe to this series, which I highly recommend.
Oh
This
yeah,
book, it was fantastic. I loved it.
and it's definitely like one of those that if you're like a junior, senior in high school, or a grown adult for that matter, you thoroughly enjoy it because you'd relate to the characters. At the same time, you're like, I can see it. I can, even if you weren't in those groups, so you were like, I can absolutely see that.
There's something because I did like because the characters, these are people who I definitely hung out with when I was in high school, in college. So I definitely, it's like, yeah, these are definitely my friends.
Oh, they're absolutely people that I would have either been friends with in high school or I would have known in general in high school. Like, they're very relatable characters to an extent. So,
All right, so Hexware. Just gonna bring this a little bit closer because I love the cover so much. I really like the character on the cover. So if I could describe this book in one word, I guess it's witches meets cyberpunk. I feel like, but I still that doesn't really do the book justice. It definitely is a very interesting premise because, of course, like magic and tech, this isn't like a brand new mashup. Other stories, other series have touched on that, like the blending of the two. But the way that Hexware, how the creative team does it, it really is interesting. You can tell by the main character, she's a robot android, but you see like a pagan symbol on her chest. So obviously that's going to be a Stitches. Exactly, Stitches. But yeah, I really liked it. The story flashes back in time to this character's origins, the family that she worked with. Something goes wrong, and even though she's still a part of the family, it's still that like you're a robot, you're an android, you're still not fully with the family. So she's trying to figure out how she can fix it because that's her job, to fix things. And she turns into the dark arts to help, and you see interesting results from that. I really dug it. It is something that I can definitely recommend to any age group, of course, but I can definitely I would definitely see myself recommending this to young adults, to teenage girls. Like, I think it's something that it's perfect. It's a perfect young adult comic, and I always try to recommend the more weird ones, the ones that like you would normally recommend, because again, especially like with like Wednesday blowing up right now, I feel like this would be a perfect book to read if you're in a witchy vibe. I do wish it had come out in October because I feel like it would have been perfect. But other than that, it's a fun book. I'm curious to see what happens because just like it's only the Teenage Wasteland, the hook is strong enough to make me want to read the follow-up issue.
Oh yeah, like I feel like a lot of the books that we read this week are definitely like, I'm interested in this. I'm interested to see where this is gonna go. I'm very curious. Then I'm going to go to All Against All. Essentially, the premise is that most of human civilization has been eradicated by an alien race. And these aliens are essentially parasites on Earth. And this is primarily like the previous world description that I have. It's a really, really good take on alien invasions. It's honestly the best take that I've seen in a long time in media in general. And they acknowledge the fact that even after the human race is gone, that there will be for probably the rest of time, frozen embryos and eggs, and they use that to their advantage. And there isn't a whole lot of plot in this, which I'm completely fine with. It's a really good setup to the rest of the series, and it leaves you wondering, like, what's going to happen? Are they going to bring back humans for their own means, or are they going to use it for like a source of, like, I guess, eating? Like, you don't really know, and it does keep you on the edge of your seat the whole time. I'm like, this is really nice. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and there's not a whole lot of plot. So, in this first issue, which I'm completely okay with.
Radiant Pink is my next comic.
Mhm.
So I haven't read any of the Radiant Black books. I do know that it is a shared universe, which I think is interesting. I always like seeing superhero universes that aren't Marvel or DC. So it's cool that Image, has like the books are so successful that they're doing different spinoffs, and it's always cool to see books succeed.
Mhm.
And so just kind of adding context for Radiant Pink. I really liked it. The character, she's likable. She's a really fun new character. I think she is someone that, if they primarily stick to DC or Marvel, they're a little hesitant to jump into another publisher. This would be a really good title to read, and I have a suspicion that Radiant Black is the same deal.
Mhm.
But yeah, the character hero, she's really, I love her look, I love her powers, and she's just like a goofy teenager who's trying to balance being a hero and just doing her thing in her civilian role. So she is also a Twitch streamer, so she's dealing with that. And Twitch, that's like a full time, to actually having a successful Twitch stream, that takes so much time and work and effort. So you're balancing that, and you're also balancing being a superhero, and it doesn't come off as like weird pandering. It's like, okay, we're trying to get the millennial Gen Z crowd, but like this is something that, okay, yeah, it legitimately comes off like this poor woman is struggling with what trying to do this, trying to do both. And so she is doing super heroics, trying to do that, but she's stretched thin, and her powers, they only work as well as if her mental state is, let's see, not a. Yes, exactly, and that's what I loved about it. Same thing with it's only a teenage wasteland. It's like these are books that's not like just like, oh my god, okay, fine, but it's like you can tell that either they are of that demographic or they actually took the time to research and how people act. But yeah, Radiant Pink, it really is a fun superhero book, and it makes me really do want to check out the rest of this universe. Because I love superheroes, of course, but I couldn't tell you why I never got the Radiant Black, but I do recommend it.
I heard like really good things about the main series. Like I don't think I've heard one complaint. I heard like a lot of people are like, "Oh, I didn't realize this series was really popular. I wish I got into this sooner." Like I've heard really good things about it so far.
Yeah, I definitely do want to check out the rest of the universe, because in this issue they do reference other characters, other events, and what I liked about it, it wasn't enough that I was like, what's going on? It's just like, okay, this is a character, this is her introduction, and it makes me actually want to check out trade paperbacks set within this universe, which is always good. I'd highly recommend it if you are a fan of the let's see. Oh, Radiant Red. Okay, cool. So that's, again, I didn't know about Radiant Red. So I'm guessing it's a full color spectrum then. Like,
I know it started with Radiant Black, and then Radiant Red just recently ended or just went on hiatus, and then picked up with Radiant Pink.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Now I know, like, as it says a lot, because I know nothing about the entire series, but I just know like the different plots that they have going on.
But I definitely do recommend it to if you love superheroes.
Okay. In the same realm of that, Noctera, this is a one-shot from the Noctera universe. I enjoyed it. I feel like I absolutely, because I've been recommended Noctera by so many people in the store, so many people, because it's very much up my alley. Reading this one-shot, it's like I kind of want context, because it goes between Noctera, which generally what I've gathered is that at some point Earth has been thrown in like permanent darkness. That's all I know. and it gives you context to one of the characters in this. It's a very specific to one character. I didn't know that, which I'm completely okay with that. Uh, um, with the missing context, I feel like I would have loved it a lot more. But even without the context, I honestly really liked it. And it's definitely pushing me to pick up the whole series. I don't know if there's a trade out for it yet, but it's not a super long series from what I'm aware of. So yeah, I enjoyed it. I can't say much because I don't really know any context, but I enjoyed it.
See, I kind of want to talk about It's Only Teenage Wasteland because I really did enjoy
It was good.
So I'll go to Gargoyles, but will bring that book up again at some point.
Oh yeah.
So Gargoyles, obviously one of the big books this week for obvious reasons.
Mm-hmm.
So kind of embarrassed to admit, I never watched the show as a kid because it scared me. And I was too young when it initially started airing. I am trying to fix that problem by catching up on Disney Plus. Yeah. So I will say this. Obviously, so to read this, you do. Yeah. So yeah, it definitely is. If you love the series, you are gonna love this book.
Yeah.
If and again, this book does a good job introducing new readers to it. Like, hey, so here are the characters. Here's their deal. Here's our relationships with each other. And if you are a longtime Gargoyles fan, then you also love it because it, from what I can gather, it does take place after the original series. So if you're all caught up with that, you're good. And yes, and Darkwing Duck is also coming out soon. I'm excited for that. Yeah, I really liked it. It's a fun intro kind of recap comic, and yeah, it just made me just want to just go home after this and just continue trying to catch up on the show. It is good that from my understanding, the original creator of the show, he is writing the book, so that's always good. And yeah, it was really fun. I am curious about a certain character and how they'll be handled in this book now that they actually have a lot more flexibility and not airing on the Disney Channel. But I like that a lot. It's fun. I think a lot of millennials customers are definitely going to start flooding shops once they realize that this book is out. Yeah, I had fun with it. Just made me realize, man, I wish I was a little bit old enough to actually watch it when it aired because I would have loved it as a kid.
Oh yeah, same. I remember my sister watched it when after it was on reruns because she was not old enough to enjoy it at that point. She was only 5, and I was not born when the show started. So, but I definitely need to check it out. I've been needing to check out the show too. Then Rick and Morty versus Cthulhu. So I thought this was a one-shot. It is not. It's going to be a limited series, apparently. It's going to be 4 issues, if I remember correctly. And if you are a Cthulhu fan, you know anything about the Cthulhu mythos, anything like that, you would so love it. They touch on stories that nobody really talks about. I'm trying to think. Colors... I can't remember what the name of it is. I just remember the oversimplified or overly sarcastic that I've seen of that. But it's a fantastic tie-in to the Rick and Morty universe. Basically, the Cthulhu, H.P. Lovecraft didn't actually exist. It's just a whole dimensional thing. But yeah, it leaves you on the end with a cliffhanger. Sorry, I've had a lot of caffeine. There's a whole story. I can't remember what the name of it is, for a fact, but essentially there's fish people. This whole city, they're all slowly turning into fish. And it leaves you on that story, which I'm very interested in to see how they're going to tie that in. It's going to be very interesting, and the way that they have tied in like most of the Cthulhu mythos and the Lovecraft universe. It's really well done. It's sometimes a hit or miss, and this one honestly like hit the mark. I feel like it was a really good tie-in. So
That's cool.
yeah.
Let's see, so Quested. So I really liked it. Went to a complete blind. I didn't read too much into it. It was just I try to do that with every book that comes out, unless there's something I'm just really jazzed about. But yeah, it's a really fun fantasy comic that has heist, and I do know that and I'm not saying this as like a negative. There's a lot of like fantasy books out now that's kind of like, how can I describe the humor? Almost like Adult Swim-esque. Which again, I know like there's so many there's so many coming out like with that tone, which again isn't a bad thing, but you do kind of wonder, is like, okay, like is this one gonna be the one you're kind of like about? But I am happy that this is such a funny book. I love the characters. I want to see more of them. I like that they run like essentially like, I don't want to say like a scam, but they run like a plan where they like, hey, so you have a princess that needs to be saved. Okay, well, we'll save her, and they essentially trick the kidnappers with their own princess, and it's funny because you're like, okay, because you want to see like what the catch is, like how they're going to get in trouble. And for most part, the characters, like, they are good. They're not like evil, bad characters or anything like that. But it's just so funny. It's like, okay, we're not gonna do like the noble traditional way. Like, hey, we're gonna go in, save the princess, get our swords, all that. They rely on tricks and things, tricks to save her.
Mm.
And they get a job from a king who's like, hey, so my daughter got kidnapped. Can you save her? They're like, yeah, sure. Trying to run a scam, or not scam, trying to run the plan again, but something goes wrong, and that doesn't sit well with one of the characters, and something happens towards the end where again it has like this really massive hook where it's like, oh, well, how's he gonna get out of this? It really is a fun book. I there were times like when I was reading it, I was like laughing out loud, and yeah, if you like your fantasy comedy comics a little crass, with some very, very interesting, really kinetic art, I really do recommend it. I'm just thinking about the panels that just made me just like lose it in the back, and it was such a fun book. I loved it.
I feel like Whatnot Publishing really came in, and it's just been a really good publishing company so far. I was a little bit weary when they first came on the scene because I was like, maybe I don't really know what their demographics going to be, but I have not heard anything bad coming out of Whatnot Publishing the last couple of months. Since they came on the scene, they've been coming in swinging with a lot of their stuff, and I need to check out actually. Then yeah, I'm trying to think of what next. I'll just take out Kamen Rider. So it's essentially a serial killer plot. There's different like sci-fi serial killers. And I don't know much about the Kamen Rider universe. I know it started a long time ago. But otherwise, I feel like as a serial killer, like sci-fi plot, I feel like it came out really well. But I do feel like I'm missing a lot of context. These two I only put down here because I'm missing context. But just like Noctera, I feel like even without context, I kind of enjoyed it. I thought it was a really good plot. And I'm a mild fan of, not like, well, it sounds bad. I'm a mild fan of sci-fi serial killers. but I feel like this is honestly a really good one. You don't really find any good tie-ins to that kind of thing. So yeah, that's all I can really say since I don't really have any context to the main Kamen Rider universe. So yeah.
See, Blade Runner 2039. It's got love on the cover. So you get to see the origins of a character who showed up in Blade Runner 2049, and it's a character who I really enjoyed seeing. Ooh, very nice. But Blade Runner, I really liked it. As someone who enjoys the movies, although I do really need to read the other Blade Runner comics and that's come out. But yeah, I really liked it. If you're new to the series or if you're not familiar with Blade Runner, of course, check out the movies as soon as you can. But yeah, it gives you a brief recap of what happened in the previous series, and yeah, it's a fun, well, as fun as you can possibly get in Blade Runner. It's a very interesting prequel to the 2049 film, and it's I really liked it. Like, it's, as I was reading it, I could immediately, it's like just hearing just like music from the films playing in the background as I'm reading it. The art is gorgeous. Seeing the character Love again, and seeing her in a different setting from what we've seen in the film, it really is interesting. And I would, from my understanding, I think they are doing another live action Blade Runner series. I would love to see a based off of this. But you know, if there's its own thing, that'd be great too. But I really did enjoy it. Again, it's like I really am slacking when it comes to Titan Comics. Is they do put out good books. It's just I just gotta just sit down and just read Blade Runner and other titles from them. But I really like it. If you're a Blade Runner fan, pick it up. If you're not a Blade Runner fan but you want to get into it, still pick it up because it's got a character I really like in it. So I'm gonna push this as far as I can.
Nice. Then I will go to Firstborns. It has a very similar vibe to Colors in Space from here because of like there's like an alien egg. And it's honestly a really good, like, there isn't a whole lot of dialogue, which is nice. That sounds weird. If there's really good artwork and not a whole lot of like dialogue, it's fantastic. The beginning of this reminded me a lot of the beginning like chase scene of Hocus Pocus. That sounds really strange. When they're chasing him through the graveyard, that's how it felt. Just a bit more derogatory. And it's just a really, really good art. Like, the cover is the exact same art that's on the inside. It honestly, it keeps you wanting more. I'm trying to think of all the plot that was in this. Sorry. But yeah, no, honestly, I loved it. I thought it was really good, and I feel like it's a really good like hook into what the series is going to be. So yeah, that's all I can really say on that, unfortunately. So,
alrighty. Family Tree. So I've never wanted to strangle a pair of parents so much in my life before reading this book. I like the premise of the book. A family goes to Ireland as a mini vacation for the family to kind of get away from work, or stresses of life. And now Ireland, it's a beautiful country, so he's like, oh, cool, I get to see the beauty of Ireland. And you get to read about Irish mythology. You get to meet cool characters. There's an interesting premise going on where there might be some time travel shenanigans. and two of the main characters are great, but their parents are just so obnoxious. Like oh my gosh, like, and I'm not sure if it's like, to use wrestling terminology or just wrestling references, I'm not sure if it's like, I'm supposed to like them because I'm supposed to despise them because they're heels, or if I don't like them because of like X-Pac heat, because like I know I'm supposed to hate you, but not in the way that you think I'm supposed to hate you. Just I hate you because I don't want to see you in a wrestling ring. I just don't like you.
MJF.
Not even that. No, MJ. That's a whole different. No, I did not like these. I hate the parents so much, and it almost took away enjoyment from my book. And that's how I felt about this. That's how strong the anger was towards these stupid characters. And it's not like, oh, they're supposed to be, obnoxious. And he's like, no, they are just not. When you read it, maybe you guys will kind of back me up on this or understand. Because everything else about the book, 10 out of 10. But the writing for the parents was just so obnoxious. It's like I get what you're trying to do, but I think either you did too good of a job at it, or it's just like, I know what you're doing. I just hate it. It's grating. Like the book, the art, everything else is totally fine. And the main characters, the kids, I want to read more about them. That's why I am praying that there is a tragic origin with these kids and their parents just disappear and they never come back. That's how. Oh my gosh. Can you? Well, that's the thing. I don't think it's even really that though. Like it'd be one thing if like I met these people, like I just kind of like not deal with them anymore. But it's just the way that they're written is just bad. It's just not great writing for these parents. Let's see. An example about spoiling, I don't think I can because sorry, I've had a bit of a flash here. I don't think I can because it spoils something that happens towards the second half of the book. Please don't let my little rant scare you off from reading this book because I really do like the premise. I do like anything that has to deal with Irish myth. I'm gonna be gung-ho about it. The book is fun. I like the anime inspiration for the artwork. And again, the two characters who I've got a feeling are going to be the main characters anyway are really fun. And I like the dynamic between them. It's just that one little bit that's keeping me giving it a 10 out of 10. It's maybe not that much. Maybe not like.
No, we talking
abusive
OG
stepmother. Like, yeah, not that bad, but like they got up there. It's like it'd be one thing if they were like just like terrible, like abusive parents, or just like I just cringe level 1,000. My skin is crawling every time I read these things.
You did say X-Pac heat though, so X-Pac heat.
It's strong, but like
I'm out of the room.
8 out of 10. Strong, like 8, 7 out of 10. Like it's to the point that I'm thinking of panels in this comic, and I'm trying to like temper my irritation. Like, just like don't be like too harsh on it. Please talk about the things that you like, because there are a lot of things that I did like about it, and I really do still recommend the book. But I also want to have a full-blown just rant fest with customers about these characters. And I think I'm good. I definitely want to hear about Dahlia in the Dark.
Yes.
Please.
Okay, so Dahlia in the Dark, so good. I was not expecting the ending on this. Honestly, I walked into this blind. I thought it was going to be like a Black Dahlia kind of situation. It very much was not. And, I can't, like, let me flip back through. I have a large amount of caffeine in my system. My memory goes blank. Hold on.
The chaos has arrived.
You didn't scare her.
I know, I'm disappointed.
Darn it, she needs.
I was mouthing scared.
There's something in the back. The ratio variance. There's a price on the note sheet written already. It just need tags. Okie dokie. Thank you.
So essentially, this dude who's a changeling, same. They have this package that they're trying to deliver. They're not told what it is. They're just told that it's a package that they're supposed to deliver that they're not allowed to open. So on their way to deliver it, shenanigans happen, and like zero necessary, like no, it's not necessary, but the changeling in this like kills their boss's secretary for no reason whatsoever. So even going into this thinking that this was going to be a Black Dahlia kind of plot, no, it's just the dude's last name. I mean, kind of, yeah, I guess, like, in a way, but no, it's so good. I love it. It's honestly, it's got so much potential. It's really good. I'm trying to think of, like, a good tie-in. Well, I'm trying to think. Like, I can't think of anything because it's such a unique premise because you don't see it a lot in pop culture with the ending of this. So I strongly recommend it if you like fantasy, mystery with a bit of like a how kind of tie-in. So, yeah.
So, Frank Miller's Pandora. Frank Miller's Pandora. So, interesting thing about one of the creators of the book. She actually has two covers. Or she worked on two different books, Hexware and Pandora.
Ooh.
I believe Emma Kubert. Would she be like the first third generation comic book creator? Because I don't know if there's a way to verify that or not. But I'm trying to think of another one if I really can at the moment. But that's still really cool. It's like continuing the family tradition of working in comics, right?
What's her name?
Emma Kubert. If I apologize if I butchered her last name, but yeah, it's a fun, very interesting young adult fantasy comic. I am so how I said earlier that there are books that came out this week. You can tell they're written by someone who was that age demographic, or they are part of a certain demographic when they're writing these books, or they took the time to research the characters that they're writing. With Pandora, it wasn't a. It's still like a really solid book, but yes, that's But yeah, you can tell that with the writing that it's like they
Her dad's an artist for DC.
yeah, so trying to just process my thoughts with it because I really did like it. I just wish that there was just a few minor tweaks with the characterization of certain characters. Again, it's not like a bad thing, but you can tell, like, I don't think a teenage girl would react like this or act like this or say this, but you know, I adore the art. I liked the world building with certain characters because it's like, oh, and how is this going to tie into like with the humans and this and all that. And it has a really interesting introduction of a certain character that's like, oh, this is fun. This is character intro in comics that like makes me really excited. And yeah, I mean, I liked it, but I didn't love it. I thought it was a solid first issue, and again, just like that doesn't really mean anything because like issues 2 and like issue 2 could be the one that just grabs you and like, hey, I'm not letting go. This is a book that's you're gonna throw on your pull box and you're gonna love it. But I thought that was okay, and I do want to see more of it. I like the premise of it, like the character designs and the creature designs, but I didn't 100% love it. And but I don't know, maybe I'll give another shot Yeah, honestly, I think that's like you nailed it. I think it was just the pacing of it, where I was fully like, you know how you're aware that you're watching a like a 3-hour movie. That's how I kind of felt with this book, where it's like, okay, I'm definitely feeling the page length of this issue, and I feel bad saying that because it's like you're getting more story, like you're getting more pages, but it's like you still have issues with pacing.
That's all I got with this dude, honestly.
And you nailed it, Sean. Like that's genuinely how I felt about it. But again, definitely do recommend it. I mean, I definitely do check it out if you're a fan of the creative team.
Mm-hmm.
This page count. I still need to check it out, and I still need to check out. I believe wrote it as well, so I gotta check out. I mean, I gotta catch up on my Frank Miller Presents books. But yeah.
Well then, my last one, Know Your Station. So I didn't actually know this was gonna be like a science-based kind of thing. They're on a space station. The vibe that it was giving me, if you've seen Markiplier in Space, that was the huge vibe that I was getting. If you haven't, if you haven't, essentially there is a like weird murder, but not really, in space, and so this the character's like premise with addiction to a drug that's on here. Yeah, it's a really good murder mystery in space. And the main character's like sort of addiction with drugs gives me massive vibes to Crashing. It's a really good one, I believe, out of Aftershock. Don't quote me on that though. Boom. Yes, it's with Boom. But like it's so good. I love it. And it's a really good take on what is it? Like serial killer kind of plot, but not really. That's hard to explain though. But like the deaths in this are so unique, really detailed, beautiful. There's a dude who's skinned alive in this. Or skinned, I guess, not alive. At least that you know. But it's just so well done. The art in it is gorgeous. The like take on the tech in it is so good. It is always the AI. When is it not the AI, honestly? But I feel like it's not the AI though. I feel like it's another crew member that's working with the AI to their advantage. That's the thing. But it's just so good, and the main character isn't like super relatable. Yeah, right. I'm like, this is really interesting. This is really creative. I'm very interested to see where this is gonna go because it honestly does keep you on your toes the entire time. So yeah. I can't say much without spoiling the story. That's the problem, because it's really plot heavy. What?
Something I do like too. I like how the title can mean two different things.
Yeah.
Like like a Know Your Station, like the setting of the book.
Mm-hmm.
But it's also Know Your Station where you are in society, in class, and things like that.
Oh yeah.
So it plays with because the creator. She worked on Eat the Rich, so
yes.
It definitely has.
Yes, it gives me massive vibes to Eat the Rich. I loved Eat the Rich.
So it's got like themes of like, class, which is very timely. Even more timely. Even more timely than now.
So real fast, since we got a little bit of time left, taking out It's Only Teenage Wasteland.
Mm-hmm.
What is, for each of you, what is a book that you would tell people, yeah, you should really get this book?
Honestly, probably Know Your Station. Dahlia in the Dark was good, but not as good as Know Your Station. I feel like this guy is going to be kind of predictable for the ending. If it's not, I mean, but this dude, I have no idea where it's going to go. Honestly, like I love it. It's so good, and the art in it is beautiful, and the plot direction is awesome. I love it.
Toss up between Gargoyles, because it's Gargoyles, or Family Tree, because I want to just rant. So if I want to talk about it, because we're like, yeah, have you seen these characters? No, but Gargoyles for sure. I think that would be the pick, like my pick of the week out of this selection.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, hello, howdy.
Nice.
Again, like it's a good jumping on point for fans of the original series and people who've never watched it or it's been a minute. So
Mm-hmm.
and it does a good job of like, hey, by the way, here's what happened in the 20 years since this show was last aired.
I think it's closing in on 30 because it came out in 94.
90, okay, 30. Almost
Yeah.
30. Time is a surplus.
Time is what's the quote from Doctor Who? A big ball of wibbly wobbly timey wimey stuff. Yeah.
Institution all against all. It's that one has intrigued you the most.
Right. All against all.
Oh yeah.
I feel like it's a really good premise. If there's a really good movie that came out a couple years ago called Not Mama, what is it? Mother, I think. I can't remember what it is. Essentially this robot like raises humans from frozen eggs and tells the main character that she's the only human left on Earth, and then finds out otherwise. So I feel like that's not like I feel like that plot premise needs to be used more. I feel like when it is used, it's kind of cheesy, but in this stance and in that movie, it's so well done.
Was it Raised by Wolves?
No,
No.
it takes place in the future.
Yeah, this was an HBO Max movie called Raised by Wolves. That sounds really familiar.
No, I don't know. Hold on.
I am bummed that show got canceled out. It was
Yeah.
solid.
Well, it's like the opening because I've only seen the dead meat of it. But it's like this robot I guess is like raising a girl who like ages faster and then gets a hint of the outside world and then finds out that there are other humans, so she leaves and then comes back and then the robot's like, huh?
I Am Mother?
Yes, that's what it
Okay.
is. Yeah. That's exactly like that. Has so much of a similar feeling to that. So if you did like that kind of plot premise, pick that up. It's so good.
But just out of curiosity
Yeah.
to our producer, if you've read any this week, did you have a pick of the week that you really liked?
Yes.
Because
It was Gargoyles all the way for me. Now, I really liked Pandora, but again, I thought it was a bit too long. Know Your Station. I think is going to be really good.
Rugby.
Wasn't a big fan of It's Only Teenage Wasteland.
Really?
Yeah, but you got to remember there's a generational thing there.
Yeah.
Like I was a nerd in high school, but I didn't get picked on. I was cool with everybody. It's starting to get kind of tropey with having the cool nerds in school, But then again, I wasn't in high school around the time these kids are in high school, so I don't know what high school is. I'm in my 40s. So, but I think it was more also the kind of record scratch. I said this on In Stores this week. Hi, my name's Javi, and my life is kind of crazy. Like I had that whole vibe when I read it. So I'm glad y'all enjoyed it, though. I never want to see a book like fail or anything. It just wasn't for me. Like if anything on that board right there, it would be between Gargoyles and Know Your Station.
That's fair. I respect that.
See, it's funny because like with like the record scratch, I got that vibe too, but I think like it added to it, if that makes any
Yeah.
sense. So because it's like, okay, something happens halfway through the book. I don't think it's spoiler to say like there's like a party in this. In
It's
this
the whole
issue.
plot of the story.
And something happens.
It's not bad though.
And it's like skirt. Meanwhile, 45 minutes earlier,
Yeah.
which I don't know, I liked it because it's an interesting little style, and
Yeah.
it's like something that I could see this being like I feel like it's such a cliche to say
Yeah.
about comics nowadays. Oh, it can be a show or it can be a film, which is
It
true.
could be a movie,
But
though.
I
It could be a
could-
really good movie.
But I could definitely see like if they ever decide to do like a film based off of this, it legit does that, and it just cuts to these characters.
Yes.
I don't know.
I think it's also a mix, though, where a lot of books nowadays are doing this thing where they start the book like in the middle of something,
Mhm.
and then they do that fourth wall break and go back to the beginning of the story, and then
Yeah.
the guy's breaking the fourth wall. I used to enjoy that, but it's kind of like zombies to me now, and almost to the point Cthulhu. Like that whole thing is starting to get really overdone in comics. So
They make fun of that in this, by the way.
yeah, like I said, I don't like Rick and Morty. I do enjoy the Rick and Morty comics. I like Solar Opposites. I just don't like Rick and Morty.
How dare we, friends?
Well, I don't know, dude. I love the comics, though. I think the comics are hilarious. There's something about Rick that I don't like, I guess.
Which is fair, because the reason why you don't like Rick is that you understand you're not supposed to like Rick. I think what fans of Rick and Morty don't realize, you're not supposed to like Rick. You're not supposed to like think this what he does is okay. He is a terrible person.
Have you seen the new season?
I had to stop. Oh, there's new comments.
And I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
I'm fine. That's Kyle talking as the experience, so
Okay.
it's not me talking to myself.
That's all good.
Is it? No, I'm just kidding.
I'm with you.
Could be.
If it comes to Rick, I do not like that character at all. It's like terrible.
Oh no, I hate him. But like the only reason why I bring up this most recent season is that like he acknowledges the fact that the whole like fan group hates him. That's why I strongly recommend like ignoring like everything in the past. I mean, if you have like context, I recommend this new season if you do like hate Rick. Because he acknowledges the fact that like most people either hate him because he's him or hate him because that's how the whole plot's set up. So, yay. He say you?
No, I said yeah.
Oh. I was like, fair. So, yeah.
Awesome. Good to hear y'all's thoughts as always. There's a lot of books that y'all read that we don't get. So it's cool to hear because All Against All, I've been excited for that book since Alex was on Dan's show a couple weeks ago. And then he was on Talking Shop with Miss Jen this past Monday. So I'm excited. I'm excited for that book.
I'm very excited.
I do definitely want to read the Near Station because it's just reading the
love
synopsis
it.
of it. It's like, oh, that's a fun way to use that title.
Oh, yeah.
Solar Opposites.
Yeah.
I definitely do. Something to watch that show. There's so many shows on right now. It's hard to keep up.
There's too much. Like there's just so much. There are shows that Falcon and the Winter Soldier still haven't watched it.
Same.
I haven't watched Wednesday yet. Like
You need to fix that because
Yeah,
Jen is the only other person in the store that has.
He's just Shift's just mad because I don't have the voice avatar up like I did last night. Alrighty. Here we go. I'm gonna go ahead and drop out here so y'all can finish up.
Okay. It was always fun talking.
Of course.
Oh yeah, just like what would be like your top three?
Obviously, it's only a Teenage Wasteland. Know Your Station, of course, and it's a tie between Dolly in the Dark and Firstborns, which that has potential, but I don't know. That sounds so bad. Like it does. I love that kind of premise. Like that's something I might pick up in a trade, but not keep up with the singles. If it comes out in a trade, I will absolutely grab it and just read it, and just probably reread it if it's good enough. But probably this one would be my number 3. What about you?
It's on Teenage Wasteland,
Of course.
and trying to like make sure like because we really did like this issue, guys, but we hope it doesn't come off as like this episode of Minute To Skim It was sponsored by. So it's on Teenage Wasteland, Gargoyles, and toss up between Radiant Pink and Dark Crisis.
Mm.
Granted, I'm biased because again, Spectre came in. Trade paper at the 8 or 5 though. Yeah, that's one I really wanted to read this week, but since it's a number 2, it's like, well, can't read it because it's not a new number 1. But I love the premise of the one so much. It's just so funny. Like the chosen one.
You've seen it? You read it?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
you're the only other person in the store that's read it besides me.
Yeah, I really love that.
It's
book.
so
It's
funny. So yeah, if you actually that's a good time. If you read the ones, you would love that probably. It's not the same premise, but it has the same energy.
I'm curious about
What?
could you expand on that? Because I'm curious about
The humor in it. That's what I love. Yeah.
yeah.
Sorry. It's not the like, oh, you guys are all the chosen ones. It's definitely the humor in it. I'll explain it to you in a second.
Quaff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think
I'm just gonna yell this real quick. Somebody watch Velocipaster and Lamageddon, and that's it. I'm done. I'm done. That's all I wanted to say.
Anyways. Well, since we only have 3 minutes left, I guess we'll see you next week. Bye.